So the brain drain, Africa really needs the brains. We are the most intelligent race on the face of the planet. We invented almost everything that made this society and every society on the face of the planet human. And when I mean human, I mean as in toilets, sanitary, everything comes from Africa.
So in my opinion, one of the most interesting conspiracy theories out there, and actually I don't even know if it's fair to call it a conspiracy theory, it's more just a delusion, but one of the most interesting delusions out there is the idea that everyone historically was actually Black and that all good things ever really come from Black people. Oh yeah, were you not aware of this? People like Jesus, Cleopatra, Napoleon, believe it or not, all Black, Japanese samurai, Black, ancient Arthurian English knights, believe it or not, also Black. And not just that, but did you know that Black people are actually responsible for building European societies just as a whole, and also Asian ones? Yeah, that, according to a surprising number of Black activists online, is all true. And look, I don't think there's anything wrong with being proud of your heritage, proud of your ethnicity, whether you're Black or white or brown or Asian. However, I do think there is a danger in being so racially obsessed that you feel the need to rewrite history in order to co-opt other people's heritage and to try to make your race seem more successful or historically relevant than is called for in certain situations. And I know there are some of you watching this who are probably thinking to yourself, Lauren, yes, I know these people exist. I've seen them on social media, but still, this is a small fringe group of people who aren't really worth addressing. But unfortunately, I think you guys would be wrong if you think that. I think the number of Black Americans, especially, who want to take credit for just European and history in general is growing every day because of the narrative that keeps being pushed of, Black excellence and the idea that Black people just historically have always been downtrodden to the point that white people and Asian people are actually trying to hide the fact that all of our successes are due to them. So I make this video not in the interest of being anti-Black, but just for being pro-reality. So there are a number of just laughably false statements that we're going to be going over in this video, but let's start with one of the seemingly more reasonable ones of the bunch. One that could in some cases be considered true, but in my opinion is still not. The idea that Black people built America. And this is one that you have almost certainly heard of. This idea is not fringe. It's basically the platform of the Democratic Party. As we can see here, we have people like Tariq Nasheed who are very big on this idea, and he does consider himself, I believe it's a foundational Black American that is distinguished from a more recent African immigrant. He says, and he has a lot of tweets like this, foundational Black Americans built America. So here's the thing. It is absolutely true, an indisputable fact that Black Americans are part of America's history and have absolutely contributed to America being the country that it is today. However, that is not the same as saying that Black people built America. You could say, I think fairly, that Black people helped to build America, but Black people, period, building America, that kind of makes it seem like they were bearing the brunt of the building of America, which is just not what happened. First of all, let's just talk about numbers. It's just, again, a fact that Black Americans have always been a minority in the country. In 1790, at least according to this source, they were around 19.3% of the population. And in 1860, we see that America was about 16.5% Black. And of course, now I believe the country is around 13% Black. So obviously, Black Americans have been part of American history since the very early days, but they were always a minority, and it doesn't really make sense. And frankly, it's not fair to say that this minority group is responsible for the country and completely discount the 80+% of white people who were also here from the beginning and who also built the country. And never mind the relatively small number historically of Black Americans that there have been, but let's also talk about geography a little bit, because geographically speaking, if we look at where Black Americans historically and even in modern times tend to be concentrated in the southern states, we can see that these are not necessarily states that are the bastions of American economic or political power. Frankly, it'd be a lot more accurate, but still not really accurate to say that Black Americans built specific states like Louisiana or Georgia or Mississippi than it would be to say that they built America as a whole. And look, again, this is not to be anti-Black. This is just to be accurate, and I don't think Black people nowadays are served by believing that they built up this entire country but are now being subjugated unfairly. That's just not what the facts show. And look, I'm Asian. Historically, it's also accurate to say that Chinese people had a part in building America. I mean, the railways, hello, but it still would not be accurate to say that Chinese people built America, because no, we did not. We've always been a minority group, and we can acknowledge, I think, the contributions of a minority group without overstating them to the point where we diminish the accomplishments of the majority. Guys, as minorities, we have our own countries, we have our own histories. We don't need to co-opt those of other groups. And if you think the whole Black people built America idea isn't really so crazy or so far-fetched, just give me a second, guys. I'm trying to ease you all into this. But before we go any further, I do want to say a big thank you to today's sponsor, Patriot Gold. Look, guys, there is a reason why historically gold and silver, precious metals, have been seen as hedges against uncertainty and volatility in the market, including inflation. And I know maybe a lot of you are interested or curious about investing in precious metals, but you're not really sure where to start or even how to go about that. But that is exactly why I love the people over at Patriot Gold. You see, you could protect your retirement with gold or place a bullish bet on silver. Call the proud Americans of the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late and mention this channel's name, Lauren Chen, and you are always going to get best-in-class service from Patriots protecting Patriots. It doesn't matter how little or how much experience you have investing with precious metals, Patriot Gold Group is going to hold your hand through the entire process, answer any questions you may have every step of the way. And Patriot Gold Group does have the no fee for life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver. So you may be eligible for the no fee for life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Give them a call today. Don't wait at 888-270-9223, and you'll also get a free investor guide. Don't forget, Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs top-rated gold IRA dealer 7 years in a row, which is impressive, and I love how committed to customer service they are. So again, give them a call at 888-270-9223, guys, if you are looking to get into some investments, maybe plan for your retirement a little bit, plus you would like to support these videos at the same time, then giving Patriot Gold Group a call is a great way to do both of those things at the same time. Next up, let's examine how the idea of Black dominance extends actually way further back than just America's founding. As Bishop Talbert Swan, who is a just huge Black identitarian on Twitter, as he has posted, Cleopatra was Black. Oh, you thought she was Greek? No. Black. The pharaohs were Black, all of them. Ptolemy's, I'm sorry, I guess you guys were a little more tan than we initially thought. He says Nefertiti was Black. Moses was Black. Yeah, you thought he was Semitic? No, actually Black. The real Saint Nicholas, strangely enough, Black. Real founder of the North Pole was Black. That's a weird one to include. I feel like not a lot of people talk about him. He's not a big deal, but okay. Apparently Black. Abraham, Moses, also Black. Aladdin is now Black. I don't think that's accurate. Ariel is now Black. That's true. The actress is Black. Jesus was Black. Deal with it. Just everybody Black. Now, the idea specifically that Cleopatra was Black, that is an especially popular delusion, one that was even backed up by Netflix itself. I'm sure you guys heard of that Jada Pinkett Smith documentary. That was absolutely terrible. I did review it on my other channel, Mediaholic, if you want to check it out. But from the Netflix account, Strong Black Lead, it says, from executive producer Jada Pinkett Smith, who, like, we can all just agree is a crazy woman at this point, right? Comes a new docuseries exploring the lives of iconic African queens. Yeah, they're calling her an African queen to like legitimize the idea that she was Black, as if everyone on the continent is the same. It says Queen Cleopatra follows the story of Cleopatra, one of the world's most famous and misunderstood women. And we could see here, infamously, I think they're actually being sued because of this. They used a Black actress. Here, this man says, y'all saw those Black Jesus paintings from the 1400s. Yeah, Jesus, again, apparently black. This one I have less of an issue with, or at least portraying Jesus as black. We have portrayals of Jesus being white with blue eyes, Korean, or black. I think that kind of speaks to the universality of Jesus in some ways and people's desire to see them in him. If you want to portray him however you want physically, I don't necessarily have a huge issue with that, but I think it is kind of important that we all understand, just historically, factually, no, he was a Semitic Middle Eastern man. We also have here someone saying The Real Napoleon by Antoine Jean Gros, 1797. Apparently, he was black. And here, this is a good one. And I think it is, I will note that a lot of these conspiracy theories or delusions about like blackness historically everywhere, they are being put forward by Black Hebrew Israelites that are a really interesting group who, I mean, anytime I make a video talking about how Cleopatra or even Jesus was not black, like I did for the recent Book of Clarence film, these people come out in droves. They're not as rare as you think. But this guy says, first picture is King Arthur. We were the original kings. I mean, he's literally, we was kings. Queens and knights of Europe. The majority of European history is Hebrew Israelite history, African American. Specifically, like not even just black, but specifically African American. Yeah, and then here we have some paintings that he, I guess, is saying prove that European kings, queens, and knights were actually originally black. Another person, many scholars believe the original knights of England were black. Yeah, many scholars, I'm sure, including the knights of King Arthur's Round Table. They were called knights after the night or darkness from their skin. This person also chiming in, agreeing. Many scholars know the original knights were black. Bro, when Christ says we're the salt of the earth, you brothers should really take heed to that statement. He meant that. Brothers should dive into the origins of a lot of the things and they'll see who are the originators of a lot. And this is what really kills me. There is actual interesting history to learn about the African continent and black people. And I encourage more people to learn about it. I know the account Metatron, who talks about history. He's mentioned that he's going to be doing some videos about ancient African civilizations, which I look forward to because it's not something we cover a lot. But I think if you are a black person and you want to know more about black history, learn about actual black history. Don't just try to insert blackness over other people's history. You don't need to do that. You have your own history to be proud of, to study, to be interested in. You don't need to go around online claiming that the original Greeks were black. Oh, and not just Greeks, by the way. Samurai were also black, or at least some of them were, according to this obviously AI-generated image. And here, in just another example of how this is not a fringe movement, as Keith Woods has posted, new black mayor of Derry. So this is a mayor. It's not just some random crazy person online. She says the history of blacks in Ireland has been completely wiped out. Imagine the kind of narcissism necessary to come as a refugee, have everything handed to you, then demand your hosts rewrite history to make you feel good.
The black contribution to society here has been immense, but it's underappreciated, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, so and this is part the fault of this white interviewer. Like, you can say that, hey, you're welcome here regardless of the color of your skin if you assimilate, contribute to our society and adopt our ways, without trying to patronize them by saying like, oh, you've always been like, that's not true. And it's okay that it's not true. Like, I'm a biracial Asian person living in Tennessee. I don't need to be told that, oh, Chinese people actually built Tennessee in order to live comfortably here and be appreciative that I live here. It's just so patronizing. And the fact that these people eat it up, like, no one actually believes this, okay? No white person actually believes this. They're just trying to make you feel welcome. They're essentially lying to a little kid in order to make them feel good. It's so pathetic.
Never acknowledged, not only appreciated, it's not acknowledged. I think the black people have completely been wiped out of the history of this country, but we do know that many contributed in building this society.
Okay, so I was actually in Ireland just a few weeks ago, and no, okay, black people did not build Ireland. Even now, to this day in Ireland, there's not a lot of black people, okay? And that's fine. It shouldn't be controversial to say that the Irish built Ireland and deserve the credit for building Ireland.
The way it is, and continue to build this society.
And it's just something else that I find so funny about this point that they try to make, like, oh, black people also, they built Ireland, they built England, they built everywhere. I mean, maybe they should have focused some of that on building Africa itself. And there seems to be, strangely enough, a particular fascination with Ireland and Black people now. The first Celtic/Irish settlers were dark-skinned people, so people of Ireland get educated before commenting about my identity. I'm a proud Black and Irish woman. My ancestors were here first. No, not everyone was Black. But in addition to the idea that everyone historically was actually Black, we also have the kind of similar narrative going on that all or most inventions or meaningful contributions to society were also done by Black people. Here's what I'm talking about.
So the brain drain. Africa really needs the brains. We are the most intelligent race on the face of the planet. We invented almost everything that made this society and every society on the face of the planet human. And when I mean human, I mean as in toilets, sanitary, everything comes from Africa. The chair, the traffic light, the car, the computer. What is it we haven't created?
I don't think it's useful, productive, or necessary to get into a debate about who the most intelligent race is. But if this lady is going to bring it up, objectively, no, it's not Africans. Like, does she understand that we can actually measure this type of thing? IQ is a very robust field of study. There's a lot of research behind it. It's objectively not Africans, okay? It's actually Asians. This is backed up by study after study. But you know what? Even then, it's not fair to say that Asians bear the responsibility for most inventions. Like, I feel like I'm a broken record here, but it's like, why can't you just be proud of your heritage and your ethnicity without lying about it, without making stuff up? Like, it is what it is. Appreciate your culture for its strengths without trying to steal from other people. And to be clear, I wouldn't have any problem here if these activists were just pointing out actual contributions that Black people have made to, America or Europe throughout history, because those, of course, are real. They do exist. It's the fact that they're hyperbolizing, they're lying about it, and they're just making stuff up. For example, here's Tariq Nasheed again.
Even though we couldn't get a patent while we were enslaved, we still, Black people, have over 50,000 patents.
Okay, so just talk about Black inventors then that you feel have been overlooked historically, because I'm sure they're real and they exist. Nothing wrong with that. The problem comes here, though.
Created almost everything in the house. The modern refrigerator, the modern toilet, the modern doorknob was created by a foundational Black American. The light bulb. When they try to say that a Black person helped a white person, that means the Black person did it himself.
That's a fact.
No, that's not a fact. And here's the thing. For a lot of these patents, it's true that maybe a Black person had like a patent on a specific type of filament or like a specific type of motor that was different in this way. It's not accurate, though, to make a blanket statement that Black people invented the light bulb. And actually, if they say a Black person helped, that really means they did it. Like, there is no reason aside from racial bias and Black superiority why you would think that.
Light bulb, Lewis Latimer was the one who really came up with it. He was working for Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison was infamous for stealing people's stuff.
That's a fact.
Okay, you work for me, and
Thomas Edison was infamous for stealing stuff, though. That it doesn't mean that he specifically stole stuff from a Black person.
anything you build, I own it.
Yeah.
A light bulb, they say, well, Lewis Latimer created the filament. That's the light bulb.
That's what did. That's the light bulb.
That's the light bulb. Other than the filament, it's a piece of damn glass.
But yeah, everything else is just design.
Right. It's a piece of glass. So he created the light bulb.
Yeah.
But they have to give credit to Thomas Edison, and the reason why the rumor that Lewis Latimer was able to create the light bulb. Remember, we were an agrarian people. We worked with the earth. Whatever we had to do with the ground, we had to come up with ways to make it more convenient for us. Black people would use cotton seeds and light it up to warm their hands. Cotton seeds are very flammable. If you look at videos on YouTube,
Like, are you trying to say Black people invented fire now?
you'll see people lighting cotton seeds. The cotton will burn and the grass won't get touched. So Lewis Latimer must have understood and watched these seeds burn for a long time. And he said, wait, what if I put this in a glass?
But whatever, it's one thing for Black activists to try to take credit for American history. At least they were part of American history. It's more of a reach and ridiculous for them to try to take credit for something like Irish history, but it is especially heinous and outrageous for Black activists to try to do what at least one of them has done recently and try to take credit for Asian history and accomplishments. And to that end, I give you this post, which is just so ridiculous and delusional. It's actually what inspired this video. It says IQ is a superficial construct created by white supremacy to facilitate their superiority. Now, that is objectively untrue. If you want to know more about IQ, just as a study, I recommend you read Charles Murray, or even Jordan Peterson has some earlier videos where he talked about IQ quite in depth. Of course, he has a background in clinical psychology, so he would understand the value of IQ. But no, it's not a superficial construct. It's also not based in white supremacy. Again, white people aren't even the group that tends to score highest on IQ tests, but it says Asians, get this, are actually getting decimated by Black students and academics. Nothing could be further than the truth. And actually, there was an interesting graph I saw the other day. They've actually done studies, and Asian students whose parents didn't finish high school or who have only high school actually still perform better than Black students whose parents are PhDs. So this is pure fiction. It says SAT scores for them are artificially lifted by white supremacy to create the illusion of the model minority myth. Yeah, and white people just hate Black people so much that they chose Asians to be their pets instead of Black people. It says Asians don't build anything. Get this, it says places like Japan and South Korea were built by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, majority Black. So much here. Number one, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is not majority Black. I actually think it's basically statistically representative of the overall population, maybe like 16% Black or something like that. And also, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers did not build modern day Japan and South Korea. Okay, Japan and South Korea are not examples of American military nation building. Okay, if you want examples of that, you can look at Afghanistan and Iraq. Japan and South Korea are prosperous and developed countries because they have high IQ homogenous populations that have also formed high trust societies. So no, it's not Black people. But it says, look at Japanese cars. All of them are reverse engineered Ford or GM. Okay, then why are the Japanese cars ranking better in a lot of metrics than American cars if they're just reverse engineered? It says Asians are good at creating illusions of success, but they're actually very primitive people. Could have fooled me. Could have fooled me. Asians are so good at creating the illusion of success and not being primitive that they've actually outperformed in a lot of metrics Western countries and definitely African countries. Again, there's this idea Africans have built everything. Surprisingly, not Africa itself, though. It says when they overthrew African emperors in China, apparently there were African emperors in China, they entered a dark age until Black people came and modernized their society again. We built America. We invented the airplane, the car, the electricity, computers, etc. But white people have shallow egos, so they stole our inventions, assassinated our people, and kept us in bondage. Anyone with half a brain can figure this out. Guys, what do we do with this? What do we do when there are clearly so many people out there who are living in a fantasy land? It's pure fiction based on a sense of racial superiority. I think the reason why this mentality seems to be getting more and more popular is because people just refuse to call it out. We're so afraid of offending Black activists that we don't want to hurt their feelings by saying that no, Napoleon wasn't Black. No, Black people didn't build Japan, which is ludicrous. Again, Black people themselves aren't helped with this mentality, and no other cultures should not just have to sit back while their own heritages are co-opted by another group. It's not right, it's not fair, it's not factual, and we should be talking about this more. In any case, that's basically all I have to say, and as always, I want to know what you guys think. How common do you think this we was samurais, we was kings mentality actually is amongst Black activists? How do we combat it? And what is your favorite Black conspiracy theories? Is it that Cleopatra was Black, the samurais, Arthurian knights? Let me know down below. That's it for now. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us out so much. Until next time.